Good. All right, friends. We are ready to boogie. Another episode of Millie's Itinerary for you. Yours truly, Doc South here at the helm, sort of. Well, it's afternoon time now. Again, this is a moment by moment account of a typical day in the life of our wonderful basset hound, Millie. Great dog, but she has her ways and she does have her routine. It's all, we've actually almost been able to time our watch by some of the things she does, especially her afternoon nap. Okay, after the bark fest out on the back deck, okay, it's now time for, you'll see. Let me read on. Okay, it's 1:10 now in the afternoon on a typical day. Oh, after a busy day so far, it's time to let sleeping hounds lie. Millie gets this look about her when she's getting sleepy. Her already droopy eyes get even droopier. The next thing we know, it's like one of those gangster movies from the 1930s. Out on the mean streets of New York, a stool pigeon put the Vice Squad wives put them wise that public enemy number one, Fat Louie, is on 42nd Street heading for his hideout. The strong arm of the law prepare for a deadly ambush. Fat Louie spots trouble. He fires a shot at the dirty coppers. They let him have it with Tommy guns. He tries to run, but he's too slow. The big hoagie he's carrying is slowing him down. The G-men get him in the back. He slumps over a fire hydrant, mortally wounded. Fat Louie's gal runs through the police barricades to kiss and hold her man one last time. Her name's Mabel. Mabel's screaming and crying as she wipes the blood from her man's forehead. She's looking for a good spot to kiss him. Right. She's screaming for someone to get a doctor. Get a doctor. Louis wheezes out that the cops only winged him and he'll see her again just as soon as he gets out of Sing Sing. With that, he rolls his eyes as his head slumps back. His eyes shut for the last time. His last words are, "Mabel, you're a good dame. Hold my sandwich. I'll eat it later." The sounds of sirens from more squad cars and ambulances approach as Fat Louie bites the dust instead of the sandwich. That look that Fat Louie had on his face when he went to the big house in the sky, that's what Millie looks like when she falls asleep. It's that quick. Those brown eyes of hers just roll back. She slumps over on her side as her eyelids close ever so slowly, and that's all we'll see of her for the next 3 hours. There's one more thing. You just heard me describe all that commotion, confusion, violence, and untold racket from that shooting scene from the gangster movie. All of that mess would not even faze Millie from falling asleep right then and there. And when it's nap time, her body droops and her eyes close, and the snoring starts exactly on the dot. Right. If they for some reason if they had let her into the gangster movie for the sidewalk scene, she might want to smell the fire hydrant, but that's about it. Once she's out, she's out. She and Fat Louie would take up most of the sidewalk. It's just that Millie would still be breathing and probably dreaming about that hoagie, and Fat Louie, considering his bad case of lead poisoning after the shootout, wouldn't be so inclined. I can hear the police lieutenant in that scene coming upon Millie and seeing her slumped over Fat Louie's right leg. He looks at her lying there, asleep, and orders his men to gather around. I can hear him now. "Okay, you mugs. Which one of you bums shot Fat Louie's dog? Look at her. The poor pooch. I'm passing the hat. Okay, I'm passing the hat. We're going to see that she gets a decent burial. See to it, Sergeant." Well, the scene fades to the credits as hard-bitten city detectives tearfully dig into their wallets as the lieutenant passes his fedora. Later, back at the morgue, the coroner is having a sandwich between autopsies. I think it's Fat Louie's sandwich, yeah. Millie's on the examining table. Her nose moves ever so slightly. Well, she smells salami and provolone and mustard, yeah, and bread, yeah. Millie wakes up slowly and slinks over to the coroner and rests her head on his shoulder. She starts drooling. The coroner and his assistant holler, "Ghost! Ghost dog! Dog ghost!" And they all they run off screaming. Millie steals the sandwich and eats the sandwich as credits roll to the end. That's the kind of sleeper Millie is. Yeah, she's a professional. Now, when she's out cold, Sandy and I have a great chance to get all sorts of stuff done without any interruption. Uh, Once Millie is out, this aura of peace pervades our home. It's so quiet and restful. The next thing we know, even though we're trying to work, our eyes are starting to get heavier and heavier. Before we know it, the both of us are asleep on the floor too. It's so peaceful. Sleep is so contagious. I can't speak for Sandy, but as for me, hours later, I'm dreaming about a loud thunderstorm. The thunder's cracking overhead. This warm rain is hitting me in the face. With that, I open my eyes, and there's Millie, barking in my ear and licking my face. Nap time is over, and she has to go out. 3 hours have passed by in a flash. It's now 4:15. There you go. Okay, nap time for the hound. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. Again, we got more than enough to go, friends. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. We have scratched the surface, but there's a long way to go yet of a typical day in Millie's itinerary. We'll see you later. Bye now. God bless.